Welcome to your course syllabus. You've probably already watched the introductory video, so you've seen me and you've heard a little bit about what's going on in the class. In this video, I want to take you through the syllabus and give you an expectation of what I'm expecting of you this semester. So let's just jump into it. You can see that there's no video here. That's because I'm in the middle of December making this video, but this is what you're watching now. You've clicked on this and you've run into me. Hi, I'm Mark Dummeldinger. I'll be teaching the class this semester. While you pretty much won't see me, you'll hear me a lot through the video lectures that I'll be providing. If you want to see me or when you get questions answered, you can see me in my office hours. I'll be on Teams this semester a couple times a week on Mondays and Wednesdays from 4:15 to 4:45. I'll be available to answer your questions. Typically, when I'm online, I'll also be up at the Tampa campus of USF in my office. So if you happen to be on campus in the CIS what's my office number? 2009, you can stop by and you can see me live if you like. But catching me on Teams is just as useful, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. My email address, mdumbled@usf.edu. When or if you need to email me, put QMB2100 in the subject line. Emails are great for weird questions, scheduling questions, specific non-class related questions or non-material related, probably a better way of saying it. You're traveling or you have some outstanding issue, you need to use the student academic services, whatever it happens to be. Those are good emails. Questions about material or projects or software or anything like that, that's best served during our office hours. And while my office hours are relatively limited, I will have some other office hours with my teaching assistants available to you. Usually I have between 8 and 10 hours a week for the online class, and I try to space it out, some morning hours, some afternoon, some evening hours, and all that's going to be done through Teams. And you'll access that. There's a video posted that shows you how to access the Microsoft Teams. But basically you hit the Microsoft Education, and I'll get it set up to where you click on it, it opens up Teams somewhere, whether it's a browser or you have Teams on your computer, and then you just join us. And when we're in our office hours, we'll be there and you can ask questions. My teaching assistant schedule, again, this is the middle of December. It hasn't been set for the spring semester yet, so check back closer, maybe a week before the semester, maybe the first week of class probably, is when those hours will be posted. Office hours may be recorded. If it's going to be beneficial to the class, I'll record those office hours and they'll be posted. So any kind of privacy that you're going to require regarding your voice or your likeness, your image, make sure you have everything set up to ensure whatever level of privacy you're comfortable with. As far as online proctoring goes, I have the right, and I'm announcing it at the beginning of the semester, I may be using the HonorLock software that USF works with for exams. I am not planning to do that for the first exam, but depending how the exam goes, depending on the security of the exam, I may opt to do that later in the semester. And if I'm going to use HonorLock at any point in the semester, I need to declare it at the beginning of the semester, hence this information. Your responsibility is to have all the software, all the recording devices, the camera, the microphone, everything that's necessary should I opt to use the HonorLock software. Coming out of the last semester, I did not use it at all, but I have in other semesters. So make sure you're equipped to be using it should I require it. The text we're using, there's only one, Modern Business Statistics with Microsoft Excel. It's the 8th edition. It follows along all the material we do during the semester. There's a lot of homework problems in there that are excellent to look at, which I'll mention in a little bit. So make sure you get either a hard copy if you prefer to have a traditional textbook, or an electronic version will work just as well, whatever you're more comfortable with. And then the software we're going to be using is Excel. Most software or most computers have Excel on it. If you have access to it, you don't have to do anything special. If you don't have access and you want to use what's called the USF Application Gateway, I have some videos and posted in other places, which I'll point out to you later, that show you how to access the software. Doesn't matter whether you have a Mac, a PC, everybody has access to the software in the USF Application Gateway. Any video demonstrations I do, and I'll do a lot this semester, that utilize the software will be done on the Application Gateway. But if you have access to Excel somewhere else, you're free to use that as well. The catalog description of the course, you can read through this. We're an introductory statistics class. I make the assumption that nobody has had any statistics before. I know that's a faulty assumption because a lot of you guys have. But I'm going to approach the material from the no knowledge perspective, and I want to give you everything you need to be successful. We're going to look at descriptive statistics, probability, regression, decision analysis. We'll do some test hypothesis, confidence intervals. We may touch on some optimization techniques. We're going to be taking it again from a very baseline, very introductory perspective. Our learning goals, these are straight out of we have a template that works for everybody teaching QMB 2100. You can read through these, but basically I want to introduce this stuff to you and get you set up for your next statistics classes, where you're gonna build on the hypothesis tests and the confidence intervals and the regression analysis. You're going to build on that and run with it at that point. So I'll let you read through the learning goals. What I want to spend more time with you with is the course policies. What are we going to do? What am I looking for from you? I'm very much a proponent of hands-on learning, and the best way to get that hands-on learning is through computer projects. And so I really have like 3 or 4 levels. I'm going to be teaching you stuff, right? I'm going to be working in my videos. I'm going to be introducing concepts. I'm going to be doing examples. I'm going to explain it the best way I can, and I'm going to show you the material. I'm going to introduce it and teach you the material. After each section, and I break the class down into 4 modules or parts. Parts cleverly called modules 1, 2, 3, and 4. Each module is going to have a lot of different parts. So the first module, actually, you know what, let's click over here and we'll take a look, won't we? I'm going to come over here. The first module has 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. Describing data graphically, part 2. There's a competency check after that. Introduction, there's a competency check. So the way I have it set up is I'm going to give you some material. The material may be 10 minutes, it may be 40 minutes long, video material. And then after each chunk of material, I'm going to do a competency check. And it's just a quiz. It's an online quiz. You get a couple attempts at it. And you have to give me the answers. And you'll know right away whether you did it right or whether you did it wrong. If you take an attempt and you didn't get all the points right, go back and review the material. And then take it a second time. The highest grade you get on the competency checks will be what you gets recorded in my grade book. And that's the first level, right? I teach you some information and then you do a competency check. After you do all the material for a section or for a module, so module 1, there's part 1, a competency check, part 2, part 3, part 4, then there's going to be a computer project as well. And so the computer projects are, you're going to be collecting some data and you're going to go to the project data information page to learn all about the data. You're going to be working with automobiles for me. You're going to collect some data, store it in an Excel worksheet, and then you're going to be generating some printouts. And of course, I'm going to guide you. I'm going to show you how to do every step of the way in Excel. You're going to be creating some printouts that I'm asking you questions on. And the questions are going to be similar to the questions of the material that I've gone over in that module. So for instance, the graphing, you're going to create a histogram, a bar graph of the prices of your automobiles or the mileages of your automobiles or one of the other variables. And you're going to be answering some questions about the printouts that you're generating. Getting numbers is great. Getting numbers is easy now, right? We let the software do that. I'm going to be asking you what those numbers, what those graphs, what those different things you're generating mean, what kind of decisions we can make, what kind of information can we learn, and that's all done in the computer projects. Computer projects will each have a due date, and you're going to be submitting them online in Canvas. And again, I'm going to show you how to do that. There's going to be videos submitting projects in Canvas. It's very easy. You've probably done it for some other classes, but maybe you haven't, so I'll show you the process. There's a due date for each of the projects, and then if you turn it in late, you can't do it in Canvas. You have to send me an email, but you lose 10% for each day it's late. I should mention the competency checks. Once the due date passes, I post the answers, so there's no late competency check. So make sure you stay ahead of the game. And then after you go through the material and do your competency checks, and then you do a computer project, which is the hands-on learning part. You've watched me do it. Now you're doing it with your own data. Then each of the modules has an exam. And the exam is just a glorified competency check. It's a competency check that covers all the parts of that module. There's a 2-day window, so a 48-hour window, and the exams usually take 90 minutes. And so let me go back over here and show you what that looks like. So look at module 1. You got some information, a competency check, more information, another check, again, and then I have a review. So I talk about the entire module. There's a project that is going to be due February 1st. And then there's an exam for Module 1. So you're going to turn in the project on February 1st. My TAs are going to grade it and get it back to you on probably, we're going to be shooting for February 4th. That way you have the 4th and the 5th to get any questions you have about your grading, about what you did right or what you did wrong. You have an opportunity to learn from your mistakes before you take the exam. And the exam's going to be on either February 6th or 7th. You choose. Once you start the exam, a 2-hour or 90-minute window opens up, and you have to finish it during that time. You get one shot on the exams. You get 2 shots for the competency checks. You got 1 shot for the exam. And so the best way to approach the class is, as you're going through part 1, and I'm talking about some things, you're also going through project 1, because project 1 is going to include some stuff from the first part. It's going to ask you about the data that you're working with. What are the variables? What's your experimental unit? Some things I'm going to talk about in the very first part. And so the best way to approach the class is to get your project data set the first week of class, and then as you go through the material, answer the questions that correspond to it on the project. Throughout the class, I'll be guiding you. I'll be giving you updates each week saying, here's where you should be. This is where you should be. You should be doing part 1 this week. You should be doing part 2 and 3 this week. And so I'll kind of pace you so that it doesn't back up. One of the challenges with the online classes is, because it's online and always available, you can hold off. You can procrastinate. And I can procrastinate with the best of you guys, but it doesn't usually lend to a successful experience in the class. So I'm going to encourage you to follow the pace. And the pace that I'm going to be setting for you is basically what I'm doing with the live classes I'm teaching in Tampa. And so when I say, oh, this is the first week of class, this is the material I'm going to do, this is the second week, this is the third week, I'm just going to be reporting where you should be in your module for that particular week. So you got the competency checks, you got projects, you got exams. Here's how the grading works out. The project, the exam scores, the online competency checks total 7 points throughout the semester. So the total points possible for the semester is 400. Here's how I'm going to assign grades. This grading scale is used for every Stat 1 class that we teach here at USF, whether it's a live class, an online class, and you need these points. So if you want an A in the class, 366 is the minimum you need. Now, what I will tell you later in the semester is that as you get towards the end, if you're close to the next higher grade, I'm going to take a look at your final exam, and I'll explain that all later in the semester. But for now, think of these as pretty hard and fast. If I want to get a C minus, and a C minus is the point where you get to pass this class. If you get a D plus, that means you get a D plus. You have to take the class again. No good, no bueno. So C minus or better for everybody. Obviously, I hope you want better than that. I hope you want an A or B in the class. And so these are the points that I'm going to be looking at when I assign grades later in the semester. And here's our schedule. Module 1, you got the due dates, and you can see the whole semester is mapped out. It's 4 modules. There is a spring break. There's a spring break where, you're an online class. Spring break, not spring break, it doesn't really matter to you. It matters to my live classes. But I'm not going to expect you to do any work during the USF spring break week, even though you're an online class. So that's where we're going to be. You have a lot of deadlines due the beginning of February. Project 1's due by the 1st. The competency checks are due by the 5th. But as I said, you should be working in January and working your way through. Hopefully by January 20th, you've done all the work in Module 1. You're working on the project. You're getting questions answered. That's the best way to approach the class. And then once we do exam 1, look, Module 2 is opening it up. And then we do it again with Module 3, and finally again with Module 4. Here's some homework problems I like. These come from the textbook. And when you go in there, these are going to ask similar questions to what I'm asking you in a project. They're similar questions to what I've gone over in the videos with you. Make sure you can answer these questions, and you're going to be good to go. If you work ahead and you get your questions answered, there's no reason why you can't have a very successful semester. There are some USF core guidelines. In fact, let me go here. Let's see if I open this up in a new tab. Bunch of stuff that the university wants us to put in the syllabus. I just thought it would be easiest to do it this way. Statement on academic integrity. We're in favor of it. If you have any grievances, there's a procedure for that. If you have any kind of disability and need to use the student accessibility services, they're a great group of people. I work with them all the time. Any kind of disruption to the academic progress, food and housing insecurity, free expression on campus, pregnancy, related conditions. What's related to pregnancy? I'm not even sure. Anyway, religious observances, sexual misconduct, harassment, academic continuity. There used to be a COVID-19 thing. I think they've put that all here in the academic continuity. If weird stuff happens during the semester, I'll be communicating with you through Canvas and let you know what that means for us. This is the way it looks. Module 1, there's 4 parts and a review. There's a project, there's an exam. Hopefully we won't need any makeup exams because you get 48 hours to do that. And then we do it again. Module 2 has 5 parts, a review, a project. Module 3, there's more parts in that one. There are 9 parts in Module 3. Module 3 is a big module. A lot of material there. And then Module 4 is going to have, I don't know how many parts, because we're going to talk about regression and some optimization stuff. It'll probably have 4 or 5 parts. But it's just rinse and repeat. So it's a matter of getting into a system, a calendar, if you will, of the way you're going to approach the class. Again, being an online class, I've taught this class many, many times before, your biggest challenge is not procrastinating. If you put stuff off, you do 2 things. You back it up, and all of a sudden you got to learn a lot of material at one time, but you've also lost the opportunity. You've taken away the opportunity to get questions answered. And that's a big part of learning. I don't expect everybody to just hear information and understand it. Learning is trial and error. Learning is doing things wrong and then getting corrected. And if you wait until the very end, my teaching assistants typically only have office hours during the week. We don't have Friday, Saturday, Sunday office hours. You have some Sunday due dates. If you decide I'm going to wait to do the project until Saturday, you may get away with it. You may not have any problems with the project. You may not have any problems with the data. You may not have any problems with Excel, but you may. And if you do, then you're in trouble. All right, so enough of that. Take this syllabus enrollment check. This is how I'm going to keep you in the class. This is a very important check to do. So by January 16th, and I said this in the introduction video as well, by January 16th, you got to tell me you want to stay in the class, otherwise I'm going to drop you. And I have a ton of people. It's already the middle of December, right? It's still a month before, almost a month before the semester begins, and I have people email me, hey, can I get into the online class? Hey, is there space in the online class? So somebody wants your seat, so don't give it to them. Make sure you do that. And then you probably want to go here, project data, learn about the automobile data I'm going to be working with, and take this quiz. First, most important step of the semester, set you up for success. Get your data, get it in Excel, save it, and be ready to go for the rest of the semester. And then start the material. Go to Introduction Chapter 1, take the competency check. Go to Describing Data Graphically, take the competency check. And as you're doing that, answer questions, page 1 on the projects, dealing all about Part 1. I think it was question 4, if I remember the number correctly. It's talking about doing a histogram for one of the variables. So work the project along with as you're working your way through the material. There's no probability work on the project, so it only goes through part 3. And then as you're doing the project and you want your questions answered, give us a call. Go get online and ask your questions. And the last thing I'll mention is, and it becomes very obvious who does this, some people, rather than watching my videos, they decide that the best way to learn this material is to do a Google search. Let me search for experimental unit, one of the first questions on the project. So they'll search for that, and I will get a very Google-ish type of answer. And it'll be very wordy and very long, and it'll usually be 4 sentences when a single sentence will do. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. It's probably going to take you a lot less time to watch my videos than it will to Google search. Make the answers that you write for me on your projects look like what you see me writing in notes when we're doing examples. When you look at the examples or the answers on the competency checks, 1 sentence. For almost everything you do for me this semester, 1 sentence will do. Don't overcomplicate it. Overcomplicating it, writing more words, putting more information in there, while a lot of that information will work and is fine, some of the stuff you're going to put in there is not right, and I'm going to take off for that. Keep it simple, student. It's one of my favorite acronyms, KISS. Keep it simple. My version of it is keep it simple, student. And you're going to do, you should do really well this semester. And I'll leave you with this. When questions come up, please, please, please reach out. Let me know. Give me a call or just get online. Go to the office hours and let me know what the questions are. Do the teaching assistants. Ask them as well. And let us help you this semester. That's it. That's the syllabus. Congratulations. It's probably not the most fascinating 20 minutes of your life, but it's over. So good luck this semester, and reach out when you need help. So long.